and ended up losing to a decision, and basically I got hired at the sheriff's department not too long after that, and I just
Yeah,
kind of fizzled out after that.
Yeah, that's one reason why I never, like, when I first started training jujitsu a long time ago, someone said something about MMA. I was like, dude, I don't have insurance, so I gotta have that same story, you know. I mean, you get hurt in a fight where you're not gonna make any money, and then you don't have insurance, so you're just out thousands of dollars. I got stitches one day rolling, just someone caught me with a heel to the eye. And that was all out of pocket. I'm like, it's stupid.
That's
man.
what super glue comes in.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's what a couple buddies and super glue, right?
Yeah, that's you know, you always you never think that insurance is that important until you fucking need to get something done, and they hand you that bill, or you get it in the mail after you go to the emergency room. You're like, this cost this freaking.
Yeah, are you kidding me? I was there for an hour and 59 of that minutes. I was waiting in the waiting room. You know?
These doctors are all crooks.
Yeah, right. But so I kind of have a question that's maybe a little off the wall. I mean, I'm sure people ask you, but I'm just kind of figuring, how do you take, like, being strong, you know, like you're obviously a real strong dude and you knew that, how do you take that and turn that into like a brand or into money? You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of strong people out there that might not understand like how the business side of it works.
It's extremely difficult, that's for sure. I mean, to make money, Lauren sees it firsthand every single day. I mean, I'm literally on my phone all day long. Mm-hmm. I'm on social media all day long, literally answering direct messages, emails, even going out and trying to find certain athletes that look like maybe they could use some help or they're from the area. What helps is that my popularity is much higher.
Yeah,
and the things I've done too in the sport is that I'm a reputable athlete, and I would like to say I'm pretty well known in the sport. So
definitely, I started telling people you're coming out. How'd you get him to come out? This and that. I'm like, I offered him a blowjob. That's how you get along.
Right, accepted, and I'm being accepted. Yeah,
that won't be on camera.
So definitely making money on it's difficult. It helps with the gym. It helps with all the avenues of social media I have, the following.
Yeah.
But you know, basically just when people, I have like a set pricing, and like when they come to the gym, stuff like that, I consult them. I'm gonna start being a little bit more choosy of the people that. At first, I was just taking anybody, personal training clients, whatever, weight loss, all that stuff, which I still kind of do, and I kind of try to guide them into powerlifting, you know, and it ends up working though. A lot of them actually, there's a couple girls that I'm working with now. They're big girls. They're overweight.
I think I saw a couple on Instagram, right?
Yeah, and actually they are like probably the best marketing tool for me because a lot of them have no experience at all in lifting, and here it is every single week. They're seeing new progress, new progression. They're seeing their strength go through the roof. And some of these girls actually have pretty decent Instagram followings too. So those people see that, and then they seek me back out. So it's all about basically how you put yourself out there and showcasing your product. Not just me as an athlete, because me as an athlete, I don't get paid that well. There's no way I could rely on that.
I think a lot of people don't understand that either. I mean, you win a competition, you're gonna have records, and probably everyone.
I mean, I get checks from those competitions, but you know, what was Boss of Bosses? I broke their American record. I left with $900.
Yeah, that doesn't even cover getting there.
That was like not even a portion of the travel expenses. Yeah. But luckily, the sponsors I work with, some of them pay me every month, but a lot of them, they don't give me money every month. It's free products, but they pay me in return as travel expenses. So people see me all over the place, and they're like, they all automatically assume you're rich.
Yeah, he's got money.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm not rich. I have nothing. I hustle every month to pay my rent and all the bills I have. And I just make it, I feel like, all the time. But you know, it's working, and I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the hustle. I like what I do. I wake up every morning like not, you know, waiting for the countdown to go to the jail. You know what I mean? And like, fight the inmate or wonder what's going to happen all day. You know, I'm in control of the environment. Yeah, I'm in control of the environment, but as an athlete though, you're not going to get paid. You have to like really branch out, and the business is coaching. You know, for me, and now the gym too. But the gym, I just bought into the gym not that long ago, so it's two other guys and myself that own it, but none of us are taking any money from it because
Just
gym.
keep it coming back in.
Yeah, and trying to make it better, you know, we're about to expand it, so it's gonna be almost 10,000 square feet.
Oh, that's Chicago Barbell?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
so,
awesome.
I actually was an original member of that gym, and the old owner just basically let it go to hell. And, from what we found out, he wasn't paying the rent, it was like over $100,000 in back rent.
But he's getting all the membership money every month.
Yeah,
He's
well,
getting all
what he
that.
did was he told the original trusted guys, I was there all the time, one of the strongest dudes there, like, hey, I'm gonna remodel the place, can you help me move some stuff? So we moved stuff around thinking we're gonna paint and like, oh wow, this place needs a much needed, you know, facelift.
Yeah.
And, all of a sudden people are contacting me going, what happened with the barbell compound? And I'm like, I don't know. We find out, he closed the doors, charged everybody's accounts
Yeah.
another month of rent,
Wow.
took full, year memberships up front and left to Arizona.
Dang.
Yeah.
No word,
Yeah.
no nothing, just see ya.
Nothing. And,
Changed his name.
no, he actually didn't. He was
Changed
actually
his
ballsy
gender.
enough that when, so the building actually, they sold the equipment back to us as a package and said if we can get a membership back to the gym, this many people, they gave us like a minimum, like a quota to hit. We hit it. At the time, I wasn't a partnership in the gym. I was just, like a face of it, basically. My
Yeah.
popularity helping them bring it back. Plus, I wanted it back too, because I was tired of working out at Expo. I mean, I barely fit in the squat racks, you know, my
Yeah.
elbows were killing me trying
Oh,
to get in
man.
there.
Yeah.
And,
The plates are geometrical.
They're the
Yeah.
iron grip
Oh,
ones,
yeah.
that
Yeah,
handle,
yeah.
right? That
Yeah,
hexagon.
and,
and,
you know,
there's not a platform or even a designated space.
For deadlifting.
No.
Yeah, and you're
Yes.
talking about I'm training for like the highest level competitions in the
Yeah,
US
it's
at a
crazy.
freaking
Wow.
commercial gym. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I try not to make excuses with that stuff because to me, equipment's equipment, but it definitely is nicer though when you can get a hold of some nice stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The two guys that owned it before I did, I was like consulting them on what types of equipment we should get, how we should change the culture of the membership from there. And eventually, when I decided to leave the sheriff's department, took my money, we negotiated a buy-in with them. And, you know, I purchased some stuff and then we were able to, you know, do some cool shit there. So it's still blowing up. It's
Nice.
actually, we have quite the like cult following.
Yeah.
Everybody knows what
Everybody
when they come
knows.
to
Oh, yeah.
Chicago, you know what that gym is.
Yep.
you know?
Everybody I talk to is like, oh yeah, if we're singing Warrior at Chicago Barbell,
Yeah.
this and that. Like, yeah, that's.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't been there, so I'm like, I don't know.
Well, what's great too is we're very close to O'Hare Airport.
Oh,
So,
perfect,
what happens a lot is, it's a destination spot for like a lot of fitness people. So they
Mhm.
get off the, airplane and it's maybe 5 to 10 minute drive. And a lot of them, they come in and they just wanna know if I'm there and they'll take a picture of me. And I'm like, yesterday I was there, they just wanna take a picture and then they leave,
Yeah.
you know?
Didn't even
Okay, you guys can work
That's
out if you want. you
tell
know?
him he gotta buy a gas mask.
Yeah, yeah. If they're out of towners, if they're out of towners for like a day or they just wanna say hello, I won't charge them for
Right.
the gas pass, but if it's like a continual like resident.
If we're hanging out every day and you're taking
Yeah.
pictures.
Yeah, just get the membership.
Yeah,
right?
you
Yeah.
have to quit.
Yeah, it's a 24-hour gym, key card access, there's not always a staff there. I'm there a lot of the time though.
Right.
I have in person, I have like, actually in person, I only have like 7 clients, but online I have like 30,
Yeah.
you know, and that's still going. But we're coming up with an application process right now, they have to apply for it.
Oh, nice.
So I can kind of weed out, because you get a lot of guys that just shop around,
Mhm.
and the problem is, on social media, there's all these, like, Instagram coaches, they're, they might be just like a good-looking guy or girl,
Mm-hmm.
great physique,
Oh, we talked
and,
about.
oh yeah, they have like 2 million followers or something, they don't know how to coach,
No.
a pile of dog shit.
No, and
You know?
all they do is they
Nuts.
post half-naked pictures,
Right.
get the sex sells,
Oh, yeah.
sex sells,
And
get the
people
likes.
believe that, and then they write them some generic plan, there's no, there's a structure to it, but it's what they call cookie cutter,
Yeah,
and everybody
it's
gets
not-
it.
Yeah.
It's not
You know?
periodized, so it
Yeah.
doesn't change.
You'll
like-
never talk to the person,
No.
so actually the clients I work with online, they all speak to me every single week. I mean, my phone's blowing up all day.
Yeah.
Constantly texting each other back and forth, kind of seeing where they're at, because I'm dealing with people who are in the position that I was at one point,
Mhm.
and, they need the guidance. It's not that easy. Powerlifting seems easy, go do 3 lifts, so there's a lot of shit that goes into it.
No.
As far as prepping yourself for the meet,
Yeah.
and how to conduct yourself, and choosing lifts, and how to peak for it. I mean, there's so much,
Mental prep too, because
Yeah.
she's done a competition before, and she was
So
telling
bad.
me, she showed up, what did you do now?
Yeah.
How
Well,
did
my
that?
max before going to the meet was like 165 for bench. And I get to
That's
the
good
meet.
bench press, actually.
Yeah, I was pretty good at bench. That was like my only really good lift. But so I get there, I did the open lift or whatever it's called, and I think it was like 115 or something.
Okay.
And I get it down, I couldn't even press it up.
Oh, yeah.
And then I
Oh,
go the second
nerves,
time, yeah, my nerves just
yeah.
like were horrible. And then the second time, we're like, oh, we'll just move it up to your second lift because, you know, we know you can do this. You just gotta get yourself under control. And the same thing happened, and it was like 130 or something like that, and I
Yeah.
got stuck at the bottom. It's like, man, so my last time, I finally got it up at like 130, and I won first place because I was the only person in my class, so I got a medal at least.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to tell them that. We got a gold medal, that's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really, yeah.
Something to brag about.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
cool. Nobody
Yeah.
knows. You don't have to
No.
say anything. Yeah.
Exactly.
Did you not know you had to pause it, or
No,
you were
I
just
knew.
nervous? Okay.
It's just, I don't know, it just felt so heavy. I was so
Yeah.
nervous, and my nerves.
You
I
get
don't
that
You know the
adrenaline
biggest
going.
mistakes that a lot of the newer athletes, like, and I attend most of the local stuff with the guys I'm coaching, and that's to handle them, to keep them calm, you know, a bunch of other stuff, make sure they packed all their gear, you know, make sure they brought enough food, because one of the biggest mistakes people do, they think a powerlifting meet, I'll be there an hour or two.
No,
No,
it's
you're there
not.
like 6 to 8
You're all
hours. It's a
day.
whole day job.
Yep,
You know, and most of the time, it's sad to say, you're just fucking waiting around.
yeah.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
so you get hungry, and sometimes these, you know, these meats are like, you know, somewhere out here where there's nothing around. You gotta just run to the 7-Eleven or something, you know, so you're just,
Random gas station.
so if you don't bring food, you're screwed,
Yeah.
you know, and how can you perform, you don't have anything in your
Yeah.
body.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, just trying to keep everybody straight and handle them. There's a lot of stuff that goes into coaching and being an athlete too, but it's also, like I said, keeping them calm.
Yeah.
Because now it's different, especially if they're a brand new lifter. It's one thing lifting in front of me at the gym and your buddies. Now there's a whole bunch of people staring in
Yeah,
your
it's way
face,
different.
waiting for you to
Yeah,
do what
this
you said
crazy
you were gonna
music
do.
blasting.
Yeah, and
You
it's,
know?
it's
Got a tight
unfamiliar. I mean,
singlet on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh,
you can't
yeah,
bring your
singlet.
bars there either.
Yeah, you gotta
There's
use all their stuff
Uh-huh.
by their rules, you
Yeah.
know, so if you weren't training the right way, you're gonna
Mhm.
mess up. My favorite's a squat, because I like to stare down at somebody, like you're like zoning in on someone, you know, and it looks always kinda crazy, you
Yeah.
know.
No, what's this dude staring at, right?
Yeah, the I'm gonna shit myself face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do they make you pause at the bottom of a squat too? or
No,
Okay.
no, the only paused lift is the bench.
Okay.
Squat is they give you a squat command. So after you unrack the bar, you stand there with it a second. Usually what you do is you acknowledge the head judge that's sitting in front of you,
Mhm.
and they'll give you an audible squat and like a hand signal.
Okay.
And that's when you know you're good to go, and you just go down and come back up, but you can't like rack it right away. You have to also wait for that command. What they're looking for is control of the weight from the
Yeah.
barbell. Yeah.
Not all momentum down and up, right? They want to make sure you're controlled.
You've stopped.
Controlled when you
Yeah.
stop at the top.
Yep. Yeah.
Mhm. You can grind it out as long as you want. As long as you're still moving forward, you're
Mhm.
okay. But the minute that you make a backwards motion, then the lift is dead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can't like, you know, go down,
Yeah.
up, down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back up. You can't do that.
Yeah, those meets, yeah, that's crazy. That's kind of like the jujitsu tournaments. Did you do any of those?
Yeah, I
too?
did some Naga tournaments.
Yeah, that's the same thing. You can wait around
Those
6,
are
8
fucking
hours.
intense, man.
Yeah, and then
You would think 5 minutes, oh, it's not that bad. And
yeah,
What are they, about 5 minutes, right?
5 minutes. Yeah,
Forearms are locked
On
up and
fire,
shit. It's
especially if
like,
it's gi.
oh
They're
man,
on fire.
yeah.
Oh, dude, yeah, and it's the same thing. You're waiting for 8 hours for them to call you, right?
Yeah,
You bring
yeah.
Your food or whatever.
And then you go 100 miles an hour, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and then you go, yeah, balls to the wall.
Especially
and
for
it's like,
bodybuilding too.
And then what sucks
Lot of
with
waiting
those
around.
is if
Yeah.
you waited that
Yes.
long and you get eliminated, your day is done.
Yeah, dude, and
Fucking
none of them are
sucks.
close to home. So
No.
you just drove 2 hours.
Yeah, yeah.
Sat around for 4 and competed.
Well,
for
maybe
5
not
minutes.
close to your home.
Yeah, yeah.
Where I'm from, there's a lot more.
Yeah.
The only close mats here are upstairs. That's it. There ain't nothing else close. So same thing with bodybuilding, right? I mean, you're sitting around
Oh,
hours
yeah.
and hours, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how do you keep, like, you know, with the same, how do you keep a good pump? How do you keep everything looking right? Do
Just
they give you a
dreaming
heads
about
up?
cookies the whole time.
Yeah.
That is true.
You just get pissed off thinking about
Well,
food.
that's one of those things that does take, a lot of experience. Obviously a person, wants to improve their physique every time they compete and, every year. But the more you actually do compete, you get better at that whole process. Obviously that peak week is very essential to,
Yeah.
do everything the right way. And the day of, you too want to have like, your certain meals, with you. You're probably not drinking too much water at that point,
That's the worst
but
part.
it's good to have some for when you're done.
Some
'Cause you
terrible
got
breath. going
dry
on.
mouth, dry mouth, and you want to drink water the second you get off stage. But it's all about like timing. You don't want to pump up too soon before you go on stage, because
Yeah.
then you just kind of tire yourself out.
Right.
It's all about knowing like when to be calm, like physically, emotionally, lay with your feet up, and
Just chill and enjoy the show.
pretty much,
for a
yeah,
while.
or go watch some of the show, and just be paying attention so that you don't miss, you know,
Mhm.
your turn, which I suppose happens here and there. I've not been a witness to it, and it hasn't happened to me, but it could. You know, if
Yeah.
you're in the bathroom at the wrong time, and
Yes.
they're calling your division or your class, and you're not there. But yeah, you know, you don't want to pump up too aggressively, because then you start sweating. You're gonna
Yeah.
probably sweat anyways, and when you're on the stage, you certainly are sweating, no
Oh,
matter
sure.
what.
Is that
Yeah.
nerves too? And
But it's
and-
the lights.
It's
It's
the
the
light,
lights.
And you do
it's
physique, right?
hot.
So you do like
Correct.
a routine?
Yeah,
Or do you, yeah, okay, that's what I thought.
but that's over, and that's I don't think like what makes me sweat more.
Just the-
It's being on stage like during
Yeah.
like the compulsory or mandatories, especially if there's a
Really?
lot of people and they have you move around and you're up there
Oh, and you
for
have to hold those
a long
poses, right?
time. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Mhm.
very very hot. So
Yeah, and I know there's probably like a lot of misconceptions with people that, like, when they look at bodybuilders too, like, do you feel you have any issues with body image ever? Or I feel like a lot of bodybuilders do undercover, even though they look amazing, they look great, it's never good enough, right?
oh yeah, that's a
Yeah.
great question. Yeah, like a body dysmorphia.
Yeah, almost. You look in the mirror, you're like, I can get better. You know,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah,
or
oh,
you
yeah,
might
yeah.
see yourself, I mean, it's not too different than a victim of anorexia who might see his or herself as being like, oh, I'm too fat, when it's like, in reality, they're extraordinarily thin
Mhm.
and, unhealthy looking and unhealthy, period. So, no, I mean, fortunately, like growing up, I was a real skinny girl,
Mhm.
and my body image issues started when I never grew breasts. Yeah, so never had boobs. So that was
I had the
yeah.
boobs order, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you could buy those.
I
mean,
know.
Nowadays, it's
And I
not a
did.
big deal. Yeah.
So, just a year, 2 years ago, but no, I felt
So wait, 2 years ago, how long have you guys been together?
2.5.
So
almost
were
3.
you a little jealous or something? What happened here?
I gave some of my boob. I was actually a donor for that.
Oh, if only.
That's funny.
I don't think we're the same blood type, so.
No.
But and no, so I hope this doesn't sound arrogant. I didn't really have. I started working out so young that like I said, I was thin, and as I got a little older, like I filled out a little more, so I wasn't like so skinny. I was just lean, but being like a conditioned athlete for years and years, and as time went on, I just got more muscle mass, and so I felt confident about that. But then again, there was a time in I forgot about that. There was a time in probably from 23 to 26 in that time period where I was training. I never had a coach or a trainer, and I didn't know a whole lot about nutrition. I certainly didn't follow any kind of diet.
That's probably the hardest part
You know?
too, right? Nutrition.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. But yeah, there were some times where I felt like that I was like unattractive, that I was ugly, that I was like, people would think all these like negative things about me because I was muscular.
Mhm.
And I get some of that like today, but I certainly like don't give a shit.
Yeah, it doesn't-
Like
Yeah,
it doesn't
who
faze
cares?
me.
They don't matter.
No, of course not. But yeah, there was a few years where I felt like it just like oh, I might as well be like this overweight girl and be like marginalized like they are.
Mhm.
Sadly, but and then after a while, like I got my confidence back again because I started prepping for another competition,
Yeah.
and I just was around people who were into it as well,
Yeah,
because it can be
exactly.
such a lonely
Yeah,
sport.
it is.
And if you don't make connections and friends or training partners or whatever with people who are also into that lifestyle, then it can be a lonely road and a difficult one.
Yeah, I think that's huge too, because we're both into fitness and working out. And if you catch yourself, with someone who's not into that lifestyle, that's huge, man. I mean, you're lucky actually you have each other. I mean, you already know that, I'm sure, but
I don't know. Remind me.
yeah. Well, but I mean, because that can make or break a relationship.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Disagreeing on food. I mean, especially right.
Yeah,
Well, there's not so much of that. I'm like, when she's going through dieting, I'm like, wow, that sucks. I feel so sorry for you as I'm eating cake or something.
Yeah, and then she might hate you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
A
Well,
little bit.
she has her hangry moments.
Sure.
But I also
You know?
understand, like, no one's, I'm doing it because I want to do it.
Yeah.
Or like I'd feel pressures from other areas, like in other people to do it, but ultimately it's my choice, so why should
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
I
yell at him.
I think I yelled at you one time when you were like going a little, you were like rolling on the ground screaming and kicking your feet.
Oh, the fit.
Shut
Yeah. All the time. That's normal.
I don't
get
even
you.
think I have the mobility to do that.
Oh, it's yeah.
I think we got it was like a short thing, you got it, and I was like, I didn't tell you to go get your pro card. This is your
Yeah.
guy, not mine.
No.
Something like that.
IFBB Pro card, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I wanna make sure IFBB
Yeah,
Pro.
they don't have pro cards out in powerlifting, it's just like when you hit a certain number.
There's like, this guy's cool, he lifts a lot, so we're
Yeah, yeah, he's a pro.
He's
a-
definitely
trust
a
that
pro.
guy.
You should see though, you should see the actual card. It's like really pathetic.
Oh, you're like, really?
We're like the most like, yeah, it's like a flimsy.
Like a Vista print,
paper.
yeah,
Yeah,
like
they give
free
you a-
business
You
card.
work
No,
so
I-
hard and you just get this.
Yeah, and
little-
I'm like, oh, well, it was so anticlimactic when it came in the mail too.
Oh,
It
was
was
it
wrapped
packaging?
in, no, but
It
it
said
was in an
open with
envelope.
caution.
It was in an envelope, like a regular envelope, and it was folded in like a piece of paper. I thought it was gonna be this like official letter with like letterhead, like welcoming me, congratulating me. It was a blank sheet of paper, and it was
Are you
just this
serious?
card wrapped in there. I was
Just
like,
thrown in
what?
there.
Like,
It's
okay.
like-
Yeah.
They text you a link, go ahead and print this one.
Yeah,
Your card.
print it, exactly.
They should send it with like a food gift card, like a let us entertain you.
Yeah,
gift card or
right.
something. That would be cool.
Right, here's some, or throw you some romaine lettuce or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
There you go. This is all you're gonna eat for a while now. No, so I had a few listener questions. If we can get to those, because I know you guys have some plans coming up soon. So I wanted to not take all night with you here, but
We can take all night, it's cool.
okay, all night. We got it. Okay, we're gonna pull an all nighter.
Get the beers out, let's go.
Yeah.
So actually, we do have a bar here too. So
In
This
your-
place is getting better and
your
better.
house.
in the garage on the
Oh,
other
yeah?
side, yeah. Oh, yeah. So we do have, yeah.
I was
Yeah,
looking
that-
for the engine blocks and random car parts all over the wall.
It used to be that until
Oh,
I
okay.
moved in.
Oh, there you go,
Stuff
yeah,
up.
okay, you gotta add the woman's touch.
Yeah. It's still got some work to do.
Yeah,
but, you
for
know,
sure, but
there's still an extra car in there I gotta sell. But
Project car.
a little race car, but
Yeah.
I gotta get rid of it.
Storage.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
My dad has his older truck. My dad's a carpenter, and so his older truck is in the driveway, but on like the other side of this fence, so like you don't really see it, like if you're walking past
Mhm.
the house. And he basically uses it as like a tool shed.
Yeah,
That's
Like he
funny.
stores stuff in it.
that's hilarious.
That's funny, dude. It's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. You like that?
Agreed, it's official.
She
We
said,
heard
yeah,
it.
you heard it. It's,
Yeah.
it's on video and in audio.
Yeah.
I had one person ask, how many times a day do you eat?
So my diet's it's kinda interesting, cause I don't really keep track of it.
Yeah.
I just eat when I'm hungry.
So you're just real intuitive, right? If you feel like, hey, I gotta eat.
Yeah, I feel like it's time to eat when I'm bored.
Yeah, that's
Just like
easy, man.
everybody else, yeah, I'll
Mhm.
smash them, but it averages out to around 5 to 6 times.
Do you know about like where your macros are or your calories
No,
are?
I don't
or,
keep
you
track
know,
of that stuff, man.
no?
I just eat
Just
and
eat,
lift, like
yeah.
the old school way,
That's
like
cool.
Yeah.
before I lift or before I know I'm gonna go work out, and if it's depending on the intensity of the workout, that decides the type of meal.
Mhm.
I don't like anything that's gonna like sit in my stomach, so I'll have something that maybe digests a little bit faster,
Mm-hmm.
or a lot of carbs, usually like rice or
Mhm.
you know, fucking peanut butter jelly sandwich or something like that. You know?
Sugar, whatever.
Yeah, whatever, you know. Sometimes Swedish fish or Sour Patch Kids are on the menu.
Mm. So, yeah, that's mine, Sour Patch Kids, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, had someone ask, I know we kind of covered this, but what is it that finally made you just snap and leave the job and go into weightlifting 100%? Was it like a certain moment or a day at work, or was it just accumulative, like you said?
I think it definitely like built up over time. There was a couple different things that was going on with me in that period of my life. At that time, I was also going through a separation and divorce, so just the mentality wasn't there. Like I kind of like mentally checked out of a lot of things, and all I cared about was lifting because that's what made me feel good still. But you know, just sick of the bosses and the sheriff coming out with all these new policies, and I thought the jail became softer. You know,
Yeah.
I enjoyed if it sounds terrible and like
Someone was acting
meathead,
up, you
but
could- yeah.
yeah, like if someone needed to be put in line, you bitch slapped them or
Yeah.
some shit, you shoved them in a damn
Oh,
cell.
yeah, now there's cameras
Or you
everywhere.
hog tied them or something,
Mhm.
like you let them know who the boss is.
Yeah.
And, I didn't, it got away from that, so.
Everyone's suing right away, right? Suing.
Yeah, I mean, I've been sued multiple times,
Yeah.
but it doesn't go anywhere, you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
just a waste of
So,
time, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
and
that-
all these guys know, it's just the county's gonna settle with them.
Mhm.
Even if the officer wasn't at fault at all, the county's just like, here's negotiating,
Yeah.
even $200
Yeah,
or
how much
$20 or some
Yeah.
shit. Cause a lot of these guys are going away to the penitentiary for years and years and years, and that money will just transfer over to like some commissary money for them, so they could buy fucking TV or 20
cigarettes and
bucks or
stuff,
whatever,
yeah,
you know?
yeah, that's true. And then, I had another one to ask, what did your routine look like when you started to see the numbers go up? I mean, were you, as far as the deadlifting, were you there 3 times a week, 4 times a week, was it?
How many times a week do I deadlift?
Yeah,
Like,
and I
or
mean,
was I
this,
doing it?
yeah, this is more like in the beginning, when you really started to see serious, improvements.
I didn't really know what I was doing at the time, other than, you know, I went on YouTube or read like, you know, article on like muscle and fitness or something, and I would see like, somebody, especially, we talk about it all the time, Stan Efferding, who is also known as the Rhino, but like one of the smartest, he's an IFBB pro and one of the most accomplished powerlifters out there, world record holding at the time. Older guy, we actually personally know him very well, so what's crazy is I idolize this man, and I can text him or call him anytime for advice now, you know, I've done it, he's been on my podcast, as a matter
That's
of
awesome.
fact.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I've been to his house, I did actually the podcast in his
Wow.
garage in Vegas.
Dang,
Yeah,
right?
it was
What
hot
was
as
that?
hell, I was
How
dying,
did
yeah.
How did
It was
they-
way hotter than here, it was like baking summer sun out there, you know, and, you know, I followed kind of, at the time, Stan Efferding was noted for, world record deadlift that he had.